Welcome to our discussion on selecting the right parcel of land for your custom home. Hi, I'm Bowe with Alair Homes, Hunt Country.
And I'm Sharon Brown with Washington Pine Properties.
We're on site at one of our new home builds in Hamilton, Virginia, and I've invited Sharon to come out and talk to us about site selection. Sharon, when a client comes to you and they're looking for, or they're interested in building a new home and looking for a site to build on, what are the types of things that they need to know and what do you have to educate them about?
So the first thing I start with is, what is their use going to be? Are they looking to build a residential home? Are they needing a barn? Do they have animals? Like, what is the property use? In Loudoun County, most of the zoning is AR1 and AR2. So with that, you're going to have particular permitted uses, and then you're going to have special permit uses.
Right. And there's other things that come into play, right? So we've got things like topography and easements. Can you talk a little bit about that and your experience with that?
Yes, absolutely. So a lot of land, well, a fair amount of land in Loudoun County has been put into conservation easement. So conservation easement is going to stipulate what you can use the property for. It's meant to protect the land, so it's going to run with the land. So that's always going to be there.
Sure.
So you may have a building envelope that you can build within, but it is going to have certain specifications. And again, so I would say zoning, is there conservation easement,
right.
Covenants, like what are the features of the land? And that's what people need to consider when they're looking.
Right, and this site in particular is located in the Goose Creek Historic District, so there's also architectural requirements that we have to meet. And that means that as the home's being designed, those have to be approved by the board. So that's another area that we have to be mindful of. And then typically now, once you've had that conversation with them, you've often called us in.
Exactly.
And why is that?
Well, I think it's really important. So my background's in architecture. I think it's very important when someone is looking at land and they're narrowing down what they want early on to bring in a builder like you. So that they can start to understand how the site development is going to, what that process is.
Yeah.
I think if you wait and get a beautifully designed set of plans and then go out and look for the land, you're probably going to end up changing your plans according to the site. So working with a builder early on to get that to, understanding the site development process is very important.
Right, I would agree 100%. We always tell clients, find the site first before you design, because topography, orientation, and other restrictions will impact where the house goes on the site and how it relates to the site. And if you try it, designing it one way, oftentimes it doesn't work with the realities of the site, right? And there's physical realities that we face as the builder in site development. And this site is a really good example of it. So we have on this site certain environmental overlays. We have floodplain on the site, we have steep slopes, and we have mountain overlay districts. And all these things limit where you can build and what you can build on the property. Now, it doesn't make the property unbuildable, but it's important to know them. When you're buying a piece of raw land like this out in the county, all these things come into play. They have cost implications and they have development implications. And those are things that we need to share with the client. We research those and help them understand it, right? You agree with that?
Exactly,
yeah.
Exactly. Definitely.
And so on this site here, as you take a look in the background, Sharon, we can see how this topo really rolls a lot. Mm-hmm. And there was not we're about at the limit before this site starts to drop off steeply at the back. And so that dictated how much of the site can be used. And then of course we're getting into steep slopes and things on the backside and down towards the floodplain at the creek. So we've got this massive site, but only a portion of it is really a suitable site for the house. But then we also have a rolling topography, and as a result, we've got to, when we're working on our site design and house elevations, we're looking at how much soil or fill we may need to add or get rid of to create a suitable building site. So all these things come into play. It's not like finding a site in a subdivision that's just ready to go, right? There's a whole feasibility study that has to be done in advance in order to determine, does this site meet the client's needs?
And what is that? So how long does that typically take you? So when someone comes to meet with you, kind of walk me through, they're meeting you in your office first, or do you like to meet out at the site first? Like, what is your process? And then that feasibility study, how much time does that take?
Yeah, so that can depend. So it's, as you've done in the past, you've referred clients to us who are serious about particular sites. And so I meet them out there and I make some initial assessments. And I can do a fairly quick search of any of the restrictions that may exist on the site, so that when we have that first meeting at a high level, we can talk about what is and is not possible. And if it seems to be feasible, and we can tell pretty quickly the impact of the various overlay districts and other requirements on this site, and it helps clients decide whether this is a site they want to pursue for purchase.
I know, I think you've answered me on a Saturday afternoon. I'm like, Matt,
Yeah.
I've got some clients, like, tell me about this land.
Yeah. And of course then, that's a high level feasibility, and when the clients choose to engage with us, then we go really deep on it and we start to really dig into what can we do, what can't we do, where should the house go, what type of house are you looking for, are you looking for a walkout condition? All these things are, have to be considered. It's just not as simple as, hey, let's buy this 10 acres, look at all, we can do whatever we want. In reality, there are far more restrictions than people might imagine, and so you want to know that before you make an offer on the site.
Exactly, I agree, 100%. Another thing that I find is people, particularly if they've lived in the city and they're coming out to Loudoun County, they don't always realize that we are on well and septic out here. So can you talk to me a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we find the same thing. Clients talk to us that they're coming from an area that generally has public water and sewer. Well and septic is new to them, and sometimes it's actually a little bit scary. Obviously, it's very common for us out here. Everything out in the county is well and septic. So a couple of things to be aware of with that. If you find a site that has a well on it already, that's a plus, because drilling wells is a roll of the dice. You try to locate the best location. The well drillers are pretty good at that, but you don't know how deep you're going and you don't know what the flow rate's going to be, and both those things impact costs. So it's one of those costs that you don't know what it is until you've spent it. So if you find a site that has a well on it, that's a real bonus, because our wells are running anywhere from $12,000 to $30,000, and it can be that big of a spread. The other part about septic, which obviously takes the pace of your sewage system, is that it's impacted by your soils type. So it's really important to know that at a minimum, the site has already been evaluated and a sewage disposal system has been designed and approved by the county. Because I can go look that up and I can determine what type of system it is. And again, they vary widely in cost. And when we look at that system and where it's been approved on the site, that's another thing that impacts the location of the house. So both these things, we deal with them all the time. But
so that's part of your feasibility.
That's all part of our feasibility. Right. We have to understand it's not just as simple as building a house. There are a lot of factors on that site that are going to impact where the house can be built and how it can be sited. And again, so well and septic is another one of those issues.
Great.
So as a custom home builder, I think it's really important when you are starting the journey of looking for a site is that you engage someone like Sharon, because Sharon is a land expert and not every realtor is. So Sharon has an understanding, as you can tell, of all the things that can impact the utility of the site and whether it's going to meet your needs. So it's really, really important to engage with Sharon so that your site selection gets you the best site possible.
Thank you, Matt. And likewise, I think when you are looking for a piece of land and you're working with your realtor who understands land, it's very important to bring a builder in early. I like to do it even before we go under contract so we can get a lot of these questions answered about the site and the site development and if the land is actually going to be suitable for the people wanting to build. And then I think, particularly with you, I mean, you're my favorite builder in Loudoun County. He's won Best of Loudoun many, many years in a row. So I think the experience and knowledge that you bring is really, really, you know, just remarkable.
That's wonderful. So again, I'm Matt Bowe with Alair Homes Hunt Country.
And I'm Sharon Brown with Washington Vine Properties out of the Middleburg office.
If you're looking to build your dream home, feel free to reach out to either of us. We'd be happy to help you.